Finally tonight, what seems to be the oddest sort of mix between history and a garage sale. Starting next week, Sotheby's auction house will begin selling hundreds of bits and pieces of Jacqueline Kennedy's life. Rarely has an auction generated so much attention, which we suspect says far more about the buyers than it could ever say about the owner. It is not surprising that 400 news crews from 40 countries were sent to cover the event. And not surprising that 40,000 people are expected to pay for just the chance to view the exhibit.
I think that this sale is unlike any other auction sale in history because of the enormous amount of public interest.
It was that way in life, and it remains that way 2 years after her death.
I think it's a part of America that disappeared when she died, a time of great dignity and a time of great beauty, and so owning anything that belonged to her would be a wonderful thing to have.
Sotheby's estimates $5 million or more will be spent for the things her children didn't want. Some jewelry, furniture, art, the books. Items that reveal just a wee bit more about a woman so reluctant to reveal much of herself.
I think people are amazed that there could be 3,000 books. She was a reader of books, not necessarily a collector, a love of history, certainly a great deal of whimsy.
She used to say, a mother first and foremost, and there are mother's things. A daughter's baby furniture, a son's high chair, a rocking horse, family things. There is history, a desk where her husband signed the first nuclear test ban treaty, a White House portrait. There are Onassis things, opulent things, emeralds and gold, a 40-carat diamond, opening bid, $500,000. There are things that are tasteful and things some will find gaudy, but all are little glimpses. A cigarette lighter, a pillow, a string of pearls, each with a story, each a little part of a mystery that was and will no doubt remain the life of Jacqueline Kennedy. The auction begins in New York on Tuesday. That's our report for tonight. Tomorrow on Good Morning.
Gotcha. Plus, Leslie Abramson.
Rivers, the big spenders are writing huge checks to buy into the JFK Jackie O mystique.
Everyone wants a piece of Camelot.
Camelot went on the block. It raked in an astonishing $4.5 million last night in the first day of bidding over Jackie Onassis's personal effects.
$520,000.
What has heads spinning today is the astonishing prices certain items fetched. This rocking chair that belonged to President Kennedy that was expected to go for $2,500 sold for $442,500. John John's Victorian velvet covered high chair sold for $85,000, and a silver Tiffany tape measure with Jackie's initials was picked up for $48,875. But the biggest surprise was this humidor given to President Kennedy by Milton Berle in 1961, inscribed "Good Health, Good Smoking." It was valued at around $2,500 and sold for $574,500.
This is all about history and all about an extraordinary family, and I think that this is everyone's one chance to participate.
Celebrities were on hand for the historic auction, and Joan Rivers had high hopes.
I'm bidding on a very charming little French picture, and I'm bidding on 2 Greek horses.
Joan did pick up a picture for $13,800, and Sotheby's expects today to be another big day as Jackie O's jewelry goes on the block, and the crown jewel is a 40-carat diamond engagement ring given to her by Aristotle Onassis. That engagement ring is worth $500,000 minimum. Most of the famous bidders are remaining anonymous, but singer and sailor Jimmy Buffett went public with his $43,700 bid for a lithograph of President Kennedy in a sailboat. Here's how frenzied it was today. A metal plate with Jackie's initials on it was expected to go for between $50 and $100. It sold for more than $25,000.
This evening, nostalgia run amok, our contribution to the coverage of that heart-stopping auction here in New York of all the things belonging to Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Here's ABC's Aaron Brown.
At $6,000 anymore.
There is a distinction between cost and value. This overstuffed chair cost a few $100s. This afternoon, its value at auction,
$24,000. No? At $24,000. Yours, madam.
The lesson so far, while everything has a price, everything Kennedy has extraordinary value.
It's almost like American royalty, and this is the only royalty that we actually have.
If you think of it as royalty, think of the value of the throne, the president's rocking chair.
All done at $400. Sold for $400,000.
Today, such little things as Mrs. Kennedy's childhood French book went for $37,000. Salt and pepper shakers went for $16,000. And the historical things, this desk used by the president when he signed the nuclear test ban treaty,
$990,000. Now, you can't let us down now. Will you say $1,270,000, Geraldine? At $1,300,000. Sold.
And tonight, when this 40-carat diamond, an engagement gift to Mrs. Kennedy from Aristotle Onassis, goes up for sale, it will be known if Mrs. Onassis gets the same sort of premium as Mrs. Kennedy, something some historians doubt.
We don't think of her as Mrs. Onassis. We call her Mrs. Onassis, but we don't think of her that way. We think of her as the president's wife.
If so, tonight may be less dramatic than last night, and last night was about as dramatic as an auction gets.
Standing on the podium last night at the end of the sale, thinking that in my lifetime there will never be another moment like this one.
And if true, consider this. The items for sale this week are those least meaningful to her family. The least significant to those who knew her best are still worth millions to those who didn't know her at all. Aaron Brown, ABC News, New York.
That is our report on World News Tonight. Later this
John
evening.
F. Kennedy and Jackie are both gone, of course. Camelot, the JFK administration, ended almost 35 years ago, and yet the fascination goes on and on. Tonight at Sotheby's, the celebrated auction house, the sale of Jackie Kennedy's estate is less than halfway over. And so far, the prices for everything have been beyond everyone's wildest expectations. Here's NBC's Rahema Ellis.
At $30,000. It's against you, sir. You can do it. $30,000.
Memories of Camelot are selling at staggering prices, even exceeding the auctioneer's expectations. This sofa, estimated by the people at Sotheby's to be worth only $500, sold for
$16,000.
A pair of candlesticks, estimated value a mere $1,200. The going price?
$38,000. Thank you very much.
And one of the biggest ticket items, the antique desk used by President Kennedy to sign the nuclear test ban treaty. Estimated value, $30,000. Final sale price?
At $1,300,000. Sold.
Item after item, people have paid top dollar, all because of the collection's former owner, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis.
Unbelievable.
I think she was a symbol of the life that people would like to have.
So I was curious and came and hopefully wanted to bid on something, but not at these prices.
The auction was Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis' idea. Her children kept what they wanted and donated 10,000 artifacts to the Kennedy Library. That still left thousands of items from one of America's most famous women for sale.
Mrs. Onassis never threw anything away, and as a result, a lot of the decorative items are in the sale.
Still up for bid, and at this point expected to fetch an enormous price tag, the president's monogrammed golf clubs and Jackie's favorite riding saddles.
This may be the longest it's taken to ever sell a piece of furniture.
The auction runs through Friday, and observers say it could bring in as much as $50 million. That money will be used to pay the taxes on her estate. Whatever is left over will go to her children. Rahema Ellis, NBC News, New York.
To put this in some kind of perspective, an 11-inch mouse on a corn cob sold for $11,000 today. So if you're planning a spring yard sale and you've got an old cracked coffee pot, you may say it was used once by Jacqueline Kennedy. Who would know? That's Nightly News for Wednesday. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here again tomorrow night.